Hello and welcome to Cinebuck Presents, where I give my $2 instead of my 2 cents. As someone who has read the original book by Ransom Riggs, which is really good by the way for its inventiveness and creativity, I have expected this movie adaptation to be kind of a disappointment in terms of faithfulness to the source material. It actually turned out to be a little better than I thought it would. It's not perfect, but it's not bad either. The book itself has, for lack of a better word, a peculiarity to it, but in a good, fascinating kind of way. There's a cinematic-like quality in the writing that makes it such an enticing read. It would seem that by combining the story with Tim Burton's macabre sense of style, they're a match made in heaven for this movie. Or is it? Speaking of story, let's talk about it. It involves a teenage boy named Jacob, played by Asa Butterfield, whose grandfather always told him stories about monsters as well as special orphanages for children with unusual talents and abilities, and he claims to have stayed at one of the orphanages in his younger years. One night, a mysterious monster comes by and kills the grandfather, but before he dies, he gives Jacob a few clues on where to find the orphanage. Nobody believes Jacob's account about what happened that night since he's the only one who saw the monster. Under the advice of his psychiatrist, Jacob travels to Wales in the hopes of finding the orphanage. He enters a cave which transports him back in time to September 3rd, 1943, and that is where he's able to find the orphanage. There, he meets the headmistress, Miss Peregrine, played by Eva Green. She explains that everyone lives in a time loop that she is able to control, in that everyone lives the same day over and over so that they can always remain in safety and never age. While at the home, Jacob learns about the Hollows, which are a group of former peculiars who have been transformed into monsters after a failed experiment to become immortal, and they must feed on peculiar children in the hopes of regaining their humanity. Their leader is Mr. Barron, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Ultimately, Jacob discovers an ability he never knew he had and must use it to stop the Hollows and save his new friends. The movie starts off pretty close to the book. In fact, very close to how I personally envisioned it in my imagination. With Tim Burton's sensibilities in his direction, he's able to ease audiences into the story, even for those who haven't even read the book. It isn't until around the start of the third act when the movie begins to significantly deviate from the book, but not in an insulting kind of way. The third act has enough decent action and intriguing ideas to stay enticing enough to watch until the very end. Even Samuel L. Jackson gets a few good lines now and then. So, overall, it has a strong build-up but a weakening execution and plot during the last third, which leads me to say the book is better, in my opinion anyway. Despite the number of changes made in story and characters, the new ideas that are incorporated into this movie still work fine on their own. If you like the book and are open to new changes in interpretation to film, or if you haven't even read the book, you might like this movie. But if you're the type of person who has read the book, liked it, and would just hate to see such major changes made to the movie, or if you're just not a huge Tim Burton fan, this movie might not be for you. All I can say is that nothing peculiar can be said about this movie in the least. And so, I give this film on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7. Good, but not great. This is Renton Whitetail having given his $2 and signing off. Until next time, take care.